Hello and welcome to a new episode of The Nomadic Parents. In this episode, we're going to reflect on Zakira being 2 months old, which was a period where stuff started to happen a little bit. It kind of was a period where her development shot up at speed, and we're going to cover our 3 normal topics.
We have 4 topics.
Four topics.
Sleep development, cognitive development, physical development, and parenting challenges. And then in addition to that, this month I went to Turkey with her. So we're going to talk a bit about traveling with her and how important it is to not compare your baby or child to other children because they're all different. I went to Turkey with another baby.
And we're also going to be talking about going into the winter period in Norway, the period of darkness, because Zakira was born in the late summer. So her kind of first months were filled with a lot of dark times, not in like negative times in the sense of that, but in just the lack of light.
Yeah. And then she also started to actually support her neck this month. So it's a lot of interesting things this month. So let's get started. Hey guys, my name is Sylvia, this is Zakira, and together with my husband Georg, we're launching a new parental podcast. We've been together for over a decade and a lot of the time we've been traveling. And in 2019, we started our first company, which also has involved a lot of remote working. As family, business partners, and traveling parents, there is a lot to life which needs balancing. In this podcast, we share month-by-month updates from my daughter's upbringing, from birth and further into her life on the road. Welcome to our new podcast, The Nomadic Parents.
All right. I've been watching a bit on pictures from the recent times, and we've been doing a lot. I mean, she became kind of 2 months to 3 months in end of October, and you went to Turkey the last week of October and the first week of November.
Yeah.
So that was kind of her transitions from 2 months to 3 months. How was that? I think a lot of parents are afraid of taking their kids traveling too early. Yeah. But you seemed like you really appreciated and you were grateful for taking that time off.
Well, I was really lucky because my best friend and my longest childhood friend also had a baby-ish the same time as us. He's 2 months older, so we both have parental leave at almost the same time. So we decided to go to Turkey where her family owns a house, and it was an amazing decision. I first took contact with the clinics in Norway, which you kind of follow up the baby, and then they said it's fine, and we got all the vaccines you could get before we went, and they gave us the go, and then it was an amazing time to be with my best friend who's also going through this transition of becoming a mom at the same time and being able to spend like quality time with her.
How was the airplane journey?
She slept all the airplane journey. Yeah, I breastfed her while taking off. That's what they recommend during takeoff and landing to breastfeed so that they don't get this, what do you call it, like propper i ørene.
I don't know, but when you get those pressure...
The cabin pressure, yeah.
in the ears.
Yeah. And other than that, she just slept. She sleeps a lot this month, so I was very lucky that she slept on the plane as well.
And you mentioned that in the beginning that you want to talk a little bit about that it's important to not compare babies and compare personalities. What did you have in mind when you wanted to speak about that?
For example, I feel that Zakira and the baby we were with is kind of the same age, even though they're not, but he could do a lot of things which Zakira can't do already. And then Zakira could do some things at the same level as him, where you would maybe expect him to be a bit forward. So I think it's very important to underline that all babies are different, and even though a baby can crawl when he or she is 8 months, other babies can't do it before they're 10 or say their first word when they're 5 months or 10 months. It's like so big varieties that I think it's important to not get stressed And if you're worried, just talk to your practitioner.
Also, during this time, we started to hang out. I mean, this was both before you went to Turkey and after, but I think the first time, like the first month, and we stayed a lot of home, just hanging out, being in the bed. I mean, we visited people and we had people visiting over, but primarily we just stayed at home.
Yeah.
But I think already month 2 and transitioning into month 3, we started visiting, especially family, a lot. We hanged out quite a bit with your parents and also my parents. And I'm just seeing some pictures here with like you being in the bath tube of my parents' place.
Yeah.
I think that was really nice, like spending. I mean, and that brings us a bit to the next topic about getting a kid before winter. I mean, some people can't choose when they have their kid, but in many cases, people actually plan a bit when they're having a kid. And I think in retrospective, it was very nice. And if we would give birth to another kid somewhere in the future, I do think I would also want to have that kid during fall.
So, moral of the story, start New Year's with a bang. No, but it's not even that. Also that you have time to recover your body before summertime. I think that's very important for a lot of women. That when you have the baby in September, you have enough months before the summer starts, and you also have a lot of months where you can wear a lot of clothes and feel comfortable without showing so much skin.
Yeah.
So obviously your body has been through a big change, and it's not maybe as it used to be.
I didn't think so much about that, but I just more thought about everyone gets a bit more calm. You're spending more time in front of the fireplace, cooking together, going to the sauna or taking baths. And in summer, everything is a bit more hectic. Like everyone is more on and about.
Yeah, I think that also depends on where you live, because we live in Norway. And in the introduction, we talked about how it's dark. And I want to put some perspective to that. When it's the darkest, which is normally in December, we only have 4 hours of sunlight. And that means like 4 hours of light. And with that, let's move into the first topic, sleep. She has been sleeping a lot. She sleeps most of the day. And during the night, I normally feed her every 3 hours. So she'll start crying, and then I move her into our bed. She has her bed right next to ours. She's laying in a stocky sleepy. It's a really cute, like cocooned egg type of thing. And it's really easy for me to hear her and also like have an eye on her, just because I feel stressed if I can't see her sleep next to me. But you sleep quite heavy. You don't even notice that I feed her, or?
No, I sleep the whole night through, and I think a lot of dads maybe have like a wish to help out. I had the same. I felt like it was making me feel bad, and still does, that I do not wake up. But I don't see or hear like most of the things that happen at night.
And other than that, and sleep, the topic of sleep, I can't figure out how to make her fall asleep without breastfeeding her. So I need to focus a lot on that the next coming months. And she does not like to be like rocked to sleep. She doesn't really just fall asleep. It's always breastfeeding. So I feel like you also can't really help out. I mean, sometimes she falls asleep on the bottle, but not really, or?
No, not really. And I mean, I can try to play and hold her a bit around, and she'll get sleepy, but she will eventually just kind of start crying and won't feel asleep. So yes, rounding up sleep. Sleep is a difficult period right now because she needs a lot of sleep. She does also sleep well once she sleeps, but I think every parent will tell you that it's a little fight to make a baby fall asleep.
Definitely. And she also sleeps a lot in the baby carrier, which is a bit heavy on the backs, but it also enables at least me to work while she's sleeping. So most of the days when she is sleeping, and she sleeps quite long, like 2-3 hours a day, like at a time, I'll get some work done, which is nice. And then we move on to physical, or
We can do physical, but I just wanted to pop in a bit like small stories. I enjoy the small stories a lot. I can hang on them way more because I don't see much difference between month 2 and 1 and 2. There's little that has happened. Sometimes like I feel she's grown up a lot, but sometimes I also feel she's just the same as she just
yeah,
came out.
growing out of her first clothes. So I think we can agree on that she's growing.
One thing that was really nice is that our family visited from Germany. All my uncle and aunts came up to Norway. That was a really nice experience. So I think if you have, in this period, if you have family that is living a bit remote, it's a nice time to have them over because they'll grow so fast
Yeah.
that, you'll miss out on that very nice memory of sharing kind of the newborn phase with the rest of the family.
Definitely. And we also had some weeks to ourselves. We become more comfortable in the parenting role. And being on the topic of family, it's been really nice having both our parents very close. And for your parents, it's the first grandchild. And for my parents, they just got another grandchild 2 months before. So it's almost the first grandchild. And it's really, really nice enjoying watching them have fun with Zakira, taking a bath with her, going for hikes, buying a stroller just to be able to show her off in the neighborhood. And yeah.
Yeah, they're almost more proud than we are. All right, physical development. She has obviously started to have her eyes open pretty much all the time when she's awake, and she moves her fingers a lot. She is kind of starting to touch and hold, not very controlled and very random. And she does a lot of almost like a little bit phlegmatic or panicking moves. Like her hands are, like shaking and hitting everything. It's not like that she's afraid or it's just, I think it's reflex.
Yeah. And when she tries to do something, it's very slow. If you try to give her something, it's like, dee, dee, doo, 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 doo.
And she does a lot of kind of a bit alien expressions. She suddenly like starts to open her mouth very strange, or stretch out the tongue, or it's almost like the face just tests what kind of function it has.
And she started to smile,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is very nice.
The smiling and just kind of like smile in the eyes. No laughing or anything or nothing sound, but just like you can see the change between normal and smile.
And another physical thing or update is that we've been having some problems with diaper rash, and our practitioner said that's probably because she poos a lot. She poos like 4 times a day, and everything between 7 times a day to once a week is normal for a baby. Just touching back on the topic of babies are very different from each other. And we've gotten some nice creams, and we'll just have to swap diaper very fast after she has done it, and then hope it goes away.
On the whole diaper changing topic, though, there is something in this period that I think I will in the future consider as something that I value a lot. And that is that we had in our bathroom in our apartment, we by chance rigged it very nice, so we had a very good space to put a baby mat or a diaper changing mat that kind of locked itself in place in between some things on the tabletop there, and also the wash machine, the clothes washing machine was very close, and you organized one of those baskets, closable sealed baskets to have diapers in.
Diaper trash can, or what do you call it?
And we used we use, and we're probably gonna use in the future most possible reusable diapers, like cloth or textile diapers. And it's really easy to have her there, change it really fast, like put it in the basket or put it in the clothing wash machine. So yes, you have to change often, but I think we made the very best out of it because it was very accessible and very fast.
Let's talk a bit more about cloth diapers because I feel like it hasn't really become trendy yet, but it's been a really enjoyable journey for us. I was very worried in the beginning that it was going to be a lot of mess with the poo and the washing and everything, but it's been quite nice. And even in Norway, in many of the communas, in our region, Alison region, you get 100 euros from the city to funded to buy cloth diapers. So if you can prove that you paid more than 100 euros or 100 euros, they will transfer it back to you. So we got 100 euros, which is exactly what I used for 15 cloth diapers, and it's been enough to...
Second hand though.
Yeah.
Second hand. And yeah, they're really good. I mean, in the beginning, I think I was a bit more hardcore on it, pushing us to always just use recyclable diapers instead of the normal disposable diapers.
We have both. In case we leave the house, we use the paper diaper.
But yeah, I think we're gonna end up doing like a mixture, a good mixture where we kind of 70-80% use the cloth diapers, but when it's more accessible or when it's makes more sense to not have a dirty diaper with you around for a whole day, then we use disposable diapers.
Yeah.
And I think the mix does a big difference, because you have the comforts of a disposable diaper, but also the cloth diapers are so much more cute. They look really good.
Yeah.
That's also something I actually wouldn't think I appreciated, but I do appreciate a lot the look of them.
Yeah, they're very natural colors. They have one of them has kangaroo motif on it, the other one has floral,
and there is one which is a bit different kind of material that's more like almost waterproof, that's really yellow and sparky.
And that's a good tip because the ones that are waterproof you can also use in a swimming pool, so you don't need to buy the more expensive swimming diapers.
Yeah.
And the only thing that bothers me a bit is that they're really big on her now that she's so small, and like for example when she was newborn they were huge, but now she's starting to grow into them.
Yeah, and I think that's nice because that way they will last a long time.
Yeah. And on the cognitive, we don't really have any other updates than we just mentioned, but she's very curious and wants to try to touch everything, and you can see that she's starting to become more aware. She's looking around. Before she couldn't really see that well, but now she's like, ooh.
There is another thing though, which maybe can be placed under cognitive. A lot of other parents which we talk with in our age, friends who also got kids, say that this is a period where they have been struggling quite a bit with crying. I think we have again been lucky here. Zakira is still not crying very much. I don't know if it's gonna change or anything, but she is not really a crier.
No, she's not. But I have to tell one story. So normally she when she cries, it's always food, and as I already mentioned, I'm trying to not always breastfeed her because obviously she's not always hungry when she cries and cries and cries and cries. And there was this one time we were going to the Mount Olympus in Turkey. It's the burning mountain, has a lot of holes which has fire spitting out of them, and we went for a hike. And normally when we hike, she sleeps and very calm. And when I'm walking with her, she also sleeps. But this hike, oh my God, she cried all the way up, all the way down. And it was in the middle of night and there was no benches. So I couldn't really just sit down and breastfeed her. And I tried it once, tried to make her fall asleep and she stopped crying. But then as soon as I started hiking again, she just continued. So she was having a bad day, but you haven't experienced so much crying, or?
Oh, really? Not really. I mean, October in the beginning, when she turned 1.5 months, we
Now she's crying.
started to take her out hiking, and that has been really nice. I mean, we took her out hiking very early. There are some pictures and videos and already early October when she was pretty much 2 weeks old.
You know, that day I'm just gonna get her. Had to take a small, quick breastfeeding break for Zakira, but now we're back. And I think that rounds off all our 4 topics for this episode. And other than that, I feel I just want to talk a bit more about the trip to Turkey and what I really liked about it and why I would recommend everyone to take a trip with your child when he or she is 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And one of the really big benefits are they actually don't eat any other food. So you don't have to be afraid of them becoming food poisoned. You just breastfeed them and you can eat whatever. And even if you get food poisoned, they don't really get that. And also, if you have the opportunity to go with your best friend somewhere and just bond over the fact of becoming mothers and let the children know each other, it's really nice. And one of the things I also really liked about the trip is that even though I feel you help a lot and it's nice to be around you, it's also nice to just be a bit alone as a mother and just do whatever you feel like. So if you don't feel like putting her to bed at that time, or like doesn't have to be a discussion or evaluation of why you do stuff, you just do it. And I actually find that a bit comforting.
So what you're saying is you prefer to be a mother alone?
No, not what I was saying, but it's not as stressful as I was imagining it to be. It's actually quite therapeutical, even though sometimes, especially in the car, it can be very annoying to be alone in the car when the baby starts crying. So it's like a give or take situation.
My biggest takeaway from month 2 is just being a lot outdoor. I just again looked at a lot of the pictures and we were hiking so much already. And I really enjoyed that a lot, the cocoon feeling of her just being asleep, sleeping all the time.
It's like a kangaroo. You just put it in the pouch and then go outdoors, and then the fresh air just knocks the babies out also.
One thing we didn't mention at all, though, is her extreme hair change. I mean, in the end of month 1 and beginning of month 2, she had a lot of black hair. It was pretty long, like still from birth, probably at 3-4 centimeters. And then she's just started to lose it very fast.
Actually, what happened is she had a lot of hair down around the skull, and then you cut it. That was a big thing this month. Georg cut it. I didn't want to cut it. I don't know why I didn't want to cut it, but I was just very reluctant as to cutting the hair. And cried when I saw that he had done it. He gave her a mohawk.
A very good looking mohawk. Got a lot of compliments for that.
And I cried, and but she did look better. But after 3 days, I cut it. I cut away the mohawk, and Geo didn't notice before like 3 more weeks. So we were good.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with the hair. It seems like she's about to lose all of it.
I'm losing all my hair though. It's really bad, the loss of hair when you're breastfeeding. I thought during the whole pregnancy, I have the most amazing hair. I'm not losing any hair. I don't have to wash it. Never gets fatty. And then I started breastfeeding now. The last 3 months, I've just been hamsters everywhere. But luckily, we got a robot vacuum, which we call Richard. It's Georg's best friend. They talk every day. And Richard takes around the apartment twice a day.
Yeah, he helps out a lot. Ultimately, in this episode, we just want to be touching a bit on managing like balance between work and parenting. I mean, you haven't really been working much, but then you started to work a bit again in the beginning of this month. Obviously, you are kind of on a parental leave, but you choose that you want to be working a bit during the period, so it's little, but for me, I'm kind of like, I've been taking some days down at the office and some days at home. I also found a lot of I found it very nice to be at home sometimes and work.
Yeah, it's been really hard for me to take the time off, even though I have parental leave and like obviously not getting any salary for not working. But as an entrepreneur, you still have certain responsibilities that other people in the company can't really take. So that was maybe one of the things which me and my best friend fought the most about in Turkey, was that I worked every day, and she felt a bit, I don't know how to explain it, but like fooled, because she didn't know that I was going to work. But I've been this all my life, so she should have seen it coming. But at the other side, it's not normal for people to work in their parental leave. So we had some fights about that.
But not bad fights.
No, it's more like she not wanting to leave the house without me, which I understand, and waiting for me to finish up like meetings and finish up work tasks so we can actually go out and do stuff. So more like nagging, I guess.
All right, guys. I think that's for month 2. We're already excited to do month 3. I do think there is a lot that's gonna change in month 3. I think that's when we're really gonna see change happening.
Yeah, it's just starting, and I'm excited. So thank you guys for listening, and please leave your questions if you have any in the comments on YouTube, and we'll hear you around. Bye.
Goodbye, guys.